There is a region in Ukraine where the most powerful DERUSSIFICATION machine has been activated. Cursed beyond belief, any Russian who enters this region knows that there's something strange going on here. Eerie, powerful. Machines in the skies and on the ground are on the hunt, and those who are behind the front know that their comrades ahead of them are never coming back. This is the most hunted place in Ukraine. Welcome to hell, Putin's patsies. Nobody gets out alive. The cursed region is Pokrovsk, and Ukraine's big plan is to create a vast kill zone that stretches 100 kilometers or more beyond the front line. This is about causing death and shattering Russian logistics in the region, as revealed by Commander of Ukraine's 7th Air Assault Corps, Yevhen Lasychuk, during an exclusive interview with Militan. The goal, Lasychuk says, is to cut off enemy movement behind the front by targeting logistics with mid-range drones, all while maintaining the FPV drone-infested kill zone close to the front that is still tearing through Russian soldiers launching assaults in the Pokrovsk direction. Cursed isn't even the word for what's coming for Russia. Death from the skies is going to start raining down in areas of Pokrovsk where Russian soldiers thought they were safe. Lasychuk says that the occupiers are trying to turn Pokrovsk into a logistical hub that enables deeper assaults into the Donetsk region, hence the logistical lockdown. And if you've been paying attention to what Ukraine has been doing for the past few months, you'll know that this expansion of the kill zone to target logistics is hardly a new idea. Ukraine has been doing it ever since it developed a new generation of mid-range drones capable of striking more than 100 kilometers beyond the front. Ukraine has even formalized the campaign. On May 27th, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense announced the creation of its logistics lockdown program, which will see Ukraine invest more than $110 million into driving the procurement of mid-range strike drones for Ukraine's units on the front. Using an E-point system, funding will be distributed to the highest-performing brigades, allowing them to build on their success with more mid-range strikes that cripple Russian logistics. That's the wider plan. In Pokrovsk, Lasychuk clearly intends to take advantage of this program by creating a vast kill zone that makes the city difficult for Russia to use as a logistical hub. Lasychuk will be taking inspiration from what the logistics lockdown program has already achieved against occupied Crimea. On that peninsula, there is a fuel shortage, along with rolling blackouts caused by strikes against Crimean power stations. Bridges are being bombed into oblivion and weapons and supply convoys are being destroyed before they can ever reach Crimea. Lasychuk's goal with the 100-kilometer kill zone in Pokrovsk will ultimately be to achieve the same. Turn Pokrovsk into an eerie ghost town, where none dare enter for fear that a Ukrainian drone will turn them to dust before they ever get anywhere near the front lines. Stopping ammunition, personnel, and equipment moving into Pokrovsk is important, but it's the personnel in particular that Lasychuk wants to target. He says that Russia's main tactic is to move people into Pokrovsk and then have them infiltrate deeper into Donetsk, often in groups as small as 2. This infiltration strategy is nothing new. Russia has been using it since 2025, as Ukraine's FPV drones have turned larger mechanized assaults into bloody affairs that cost far more in metal and meat than Russia can handle. So the infiltration groups sneak in. They're not actually taking territory. They're occupying small portions, hiding away as they wait for support that often never comes. But there are purposes behind the strategy. When Russia sneaks infiltrators in, it uses that achievement, such as it is, for propaganda. Putin can talk about how Russia has taken territory when the reality is that it has a handful of soldiers hidden away. Beyond that, the infiltration is designed to stretch Ukraine. There is no single front. Instead, dozens of hidey holes need to be found and destroyed. Russia has been evolving this infiltration strategy. In a June piece, Forbes said that Russian infiltrators now move as deep into the kill zones as they can, establishing forward outposts from which they can launch drones against Ukrainian forces. Their stockpiles are limited, of course. When the drones run out, the infiltrators can do nothing but sit around and wait. But the chaos being caused is enough to create serious problems for Ukraine. The 100-kilometer kill zone in Pokrovsk is designed to tackle that problem. Lasychuk says that Ukraine's goal now is to destroy the infiltrators while they're still amassed in the rear, rather than allowing them to move close enough to the front for them to attempt infiltrations. That's where the 100-kilometer kill zone comes into play. A combination of mid-range drones, rocket artillery, and long-range tube artillery will send death from the skies into Pokrovsk, destroying soldiers, supplies, and logistical routes alike. Imagine that you are a Russian soldier right now. You won't have heard any of this news. Your commanders keep as much information hidden from you as possible, because they know you need to be a good little soldier who follows commands without question. But you know Pokrovsk is a death zone. Comrade after comrade has already died trying to take the city, and you know that the front itself is infested with drones that will destroy you in an instant. Still, you feel safe. You're still in the rear, and the order to try to push through to the front hasn't come yet. For a moment, you feel settled. Then you hear it, the buzz of a drone. For a moment, you figure that a drone unit nearby is sending UAVs to go and bombard Ukrainian positions. But then, you hear the explosion. Another follows, then another. You're under attack where you thought you'd be safe. As a drone or rocket comes hurtling towards you, the realization strikes you too late. You're now in the most hunted place in Ukraine, and you aren't getting out alive. Now the big question. How long until Ukraine has this 100-kilometer kill zone up and running? Ukraine is well on its way, as the 7th Air Assault Corps seems to have almost all of what it needs to create what Lasachuk says is coming. Militani reports that the Corps has already created staffing and organizational structures that enable it to deploy mid-range drones that have light, medium, and heavy warheads as needed. This is smart. It means that the Corps is capable of identifying targets and the level of firepower needed to take them out, so it won't waste more powerful drones on targets that could be taken out with a few kilograms of explosives. On July 7th, it was reported that the Corps had taken delivery of a stockpile of FP2 drones and that it was already using them to conduct successful strikes against the occupiers in the Pokrovsk direction. Those types of drones are precisely what is needed to create the scale of a kill zone that Lasachuk says is coming. Now capable of carrying 200-kilogram warheads following a May upgrade, these drones are made by Firepoint and can travel up to 370 kilometers while carrying their heavy payloads. We imagine that these will be the drones that the 7th Air Assault Corps uses to take out hardened targets deep behind the lines. Presumably, other mid-range strike drones will be added to the Corps' arsenal or have already arrived and aren't yet being publicized. The takeaway here is that the 7th Assault Corps already has mid-range strike drones, so the 100-kilometer kill zone is already active, even if it's not quite as extensive as Lasachuk says it will become. Here's what's coming for the occupiers in the Pokrovsk region. Ukraine is going to be creating a layered kill zone structure that makes it extremely difficult for Russia to use Pokrovsk as a logistical hub or to advance along the front. You first have the type of kill zone that most are familiar with by now. Stretching up to 30 kilometers from the front, that type of kill zone is infested with FPV drones, along with other defenses designed to slow Russian soldiers down. Anti-tank ditches, barbed wire, mines, and dragon's teeth are all part of the defenses in what we now call the traditional kill zone. Beyond killing Russian soldiers attempting to advance directly, defenses can also be used to funnel soldiers down routes that will lead them right into traps. These types of kill zones won't be going away in Pokrovsk. They'll simply be married to the new kill zone, between around 30 and 100 kilometers from the front, where mid-range drones do their damage. This is where drones like the FP2 come into play. They'll strike logistics, command posts, troop gatherings, and more. The result will be weakened assaults on the front. The 30-kilometer layer of the kill zone will still do what its name says, but it will face less pressure from infiltrators. Defenses will last longer, and Ukrainian soldiers on the front can maintain their positions because even fewer soldiers are actually getting through to them. As for Russia, this expanded kill zone means one thing: casualties by the bucket load. That's the last thing that Russia needs in Pokrovsk or the wider Donetsk region right now. Russia is losing well over 1,000 soldiers every single day, and often more than 1,500, as that period saw Russia lose 1,600 troops to death or injury. The Donetsk advance is also going poorly. Even before the 100-kilometer Pokrovsk kill zone is created, Russia's forces are having to sacrifice more than 400 soldiers for every square kilometer they gain in Donetsk, according to Ukraine's outgoing commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Oleksandr Syrsky, reported by RBC Ukraine on July 14. The new Pokrovsk kill zone will only make these numbers much worse for Russia, but there's an elephant in the room that we haven't confronted yet. Hasn't Russia already taken Pokrovsk? And if it has, how could Ukraine build a kill zone in the region? We'll answer those questions in a moment, in addition to explaining what the 100-kilometer kill zone is really all about. But before we do, this is a reminder that you're watching The Military Show. If you're getting insight from our channel, remember to subscribe and enable notifications so you see our videos as soon as they're published. So, Pokrovsk. Russia has indeed claimed to have taken the city, and the keyword here is claimed. Back in December, Russia said that it had overrun Ukraine's defenses in Pokrovsk and that it had officially claimed the city. These claims were suspiciously timed to coincide with the new round of peace talks that happened toward the end of 2025, and it quickly became clear that Russia was lying about Pokrovsk so that it had leverage for these talks. Putin's ultimate goal is to claim all of Donetsk, and acting as though a key city had fallen would have given him ammunition for his bluster about how the collapse of the Donetsk defenses was inevitable. Russia hadn't taken Pokrovsk in December. Even as recently as May 18th, Ukraine still held positions in the northern parts of the city, though those positions were slowly being cut off. Ukraine's situation certainly isn't good in Pokrovsk, especially when we're talking solely about the city that gives the region its name. But then that's the point. Pokrovsk doesn't just refer to the city. It refers to an entire region that Russia still needs to push through to further its Donetsk ambitions. Fighting still rages in Pokrovsk, which is subject to some of the most intense assaults that Russia is launching across the entire front line. On July 20th, Metsa reported that Russia had sparked 186 frontline clashes during the previous 24 hours, with 25 attacks taking place in the Pokrovsk direction. That's more than an eighth of all assaults across the entire front being focused on a single region. UNN put the number at a slightly lower 22 assaults in the Pokrovsk direction, though it added that 3 combat engagements were ongoing. It also noted that Russia had attacked several settlements in the Pokrovsk region, including Toretska, Mirna, and Novopavlivka. The point we're making here is that though the city of Pokrovsk may have all but fallen, the overall region is still a war zone, and Russia is still pulling its same tricks in that war zone. In its July 18th report on the Russian campaign, the Institute for the Study of War, or ISW, said that Russia is still exaggerating its gains and claiming to have taken settlements that it doesn't properly occupy, just as it did in Pokrovsk in December 2025. So what is really happening in Pokrovsk? An insanely slow and grinding advance by Russia as it attempts to finally break through the region so that it can move toward Dobropilia. That region would then serve as a gateway to the fortress belt cities of Slovyansk and Kramatorsk, which lie about 50 kilometers to the north. And it's in preventing this from happening that the 100-kilometer kill zone becomes really important. Pokrovsk has already become a quagmire, where Russian troops can barely push forward and can only do so at great cost. With an expanded kill zone in Pokrovsk, Ukraine can slow these advances further, lending it more time to fortify the already strong fortress belt. We may even see opportunities for counterattacks in Pokrovsk resulting from the weakening of the Russian rear that the introduction of mid-range drones in the region could create. We're not saying that Ukraine could retake the city, but it could liberate pockets of territory, which it can then fortify and use to expand the kill zones even deeper. Ukraine also has to take something else into account. In a July 6th report, the New Voice of Ukraine said that Russia's main plan for Pokrovsk is to turn it into a command and logistics hub for its grouping of soldiers further north. Again, the fortress belt was mentioned, particularly the cities of Kramatorsk and Slovyansk. To make this happen, a source from the 7th Air Assault Corps told the outlet, the most the Russians are doing is trying to drag as many forces and means as possible into Pokrovsk. Amidst a slowdown of assaults that was happening at the time, the officer continued, the enemy wants to place the headquarters of its grouping in Pokrovsk. In a certain sense, it looks logical. If you look further west, there are no large cities there, and the next one is already Pavlograd. On one hand, allowing Russia to create this hub spells bad news for Ukraine. But in this amassing of soldiers in Pokrovsk, Ukraine sees an opportunity arise. Pokrovsk is a relatively small city. Troops gathered there don't have many places to go, especially as much of the city now lies in ruins. That makes them perfect fodder for a middle strike campaign. With the expansion of the Pokrovsk kill zone to 100 kilometers, Ukraine gets to take advantage of the fact that Pokrovsk is the only city for many kilometers around that Russia can use as a hub that allows for a deeper push into Donetsk. The logistical benefits that have so long made Pokrovsk a valuable city are now transformed into a liability for Russia. Perhaps Ukraine has some inkling that it might be able to use this strategy to liberate Pokrovsk at some point in the future. But when it comes down to it, the 100-kilometer kill zone isn't focused on that derussification effort, not yet. Rather, it's all about protecting the rest of Donetsk from what Russia is trying to achieve. Despite the crawling rate of advance and insane casualty figures, Putin isn't going to stop attempting to topple Donetsk. He believes that Russia is winning in the region, as demonstrated by his June 4th claims that Ukraine's share of territory held in Donetsk has fallen from 25% to 15%. Again, this is exaggerated and it's based on the false claims of capturing settlements and Russia's propensity for acting as though it occupies territory as soon as an infiltration unit enters. Still, as long as Putin thinks that Russia is winning in Donetsk, there will be no peace negotiations. Bloomberg reported as much on July 22nd, claiming that 2 people who are close to the Kremlin told the outlet that Putin has no intention of re-entering peace negotiations until Donetsk is under Russian control. With that knowledge, Ukraine's task is simple: make sure that Russia does not take Donetsk. The best way to do that is to make kill zones so vast that the cost of taking Donetsk becomes too heavy for Russia to handle. That's what the 100-kilometer kill zone in Pokrovsk is really all about. Ukraine isn't aiming to liberate territory, that can come later. It wants to attrit Russia, to make Russia pay in the blood of its soldiers and the oil of machines for every kilometer of advance. We may already be seeing the impact this new kill zone is having. In the Slovyansk, Dobropilia and Konstantinivka sectors of the Donetsk region, Russia only managed to advance 17.33 square kilometers in the week leading up to July 20th, having managed 26.7 square kilometers the previous week. That's what Ukraine wants to see, a slowdown in the regions that the Pokrovsk logistical hub is supposed to be supporting. As more mid-range drones fly and chaos is caused in Pokrovsk, this slowdown will become a stalemate, where Russian soldiers die both on the front and inside Pokrovsk. Pokrovsk is now going to be a hunting ground for Ukraine's drones. FPV and mid-range drones unite in a layered strategy that will make what was supposed to be the site of Russia's greatest, faked victory of 2025, a cursed zone for any of Putin's soldiers. And who knows, we may start seeing Ukraine take out major targets in Pokrovsk, just like it's been doing elsewhere in Donetsk. Just a week or so before Lasyachuk made his big reveal, Ukraine launched Operation Hell to take out a concealed target in Donetsk that was part of Russia's logistical network. If you want to find out what happened, then watch our video. We break down Operation Hell and deliver insight into the type of strike that may soon become commonplace in Pokrovsk. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe to The Military Show for daily videos covering the latest developments in Ukraine. And thank you, as always, for watching.